Christine, Sophia Soda with the Nerds of Color. Huge fan of your work on this series. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. So I am an OG Marvel fan. I've been back in the theater when Iron Man came out in 2008. And such a big part of Marvel and the MCU is the costumes. I feel like they're one of the underrated parts, especially with Halloween coming up. You see just how much people like to dress up as these characters. So I'm curious for you, are there any other costume designers who you know have worked in the MCU that you'd want to work with in the future, or a character that you'd like to design something for outside of Loki?
Oh, interesting. Well, it'd be hard to probably say another costume designer to work with. Um, uh, I mean, I have a lot of people I admire. I think
Yeah.
everybody that has worked on the MCU projects have been, I mean, it's endless
Yeah.
talent there. But in terms of a character, boy, I mean, I would love to do boy, I would actually just love to continue to work with Tom. His dedication to this character is so incredible, and really I would love to see where he could take it. So
Loki's my favorite, so I don't blame you in the slightest. And I think Tom Hiddleston is one of the greatest actors we have. So I completely understand where you're coming from. And you actually led me into my next question perfectly because I imagine the actors when they first get to try on the costume, it's just a really magical moment. And I'm curious, are there any like memorable moments tied to that where you get to see, an actor's face light up when they get to try on a specific costume, or maybe their reaction to something you did, or anything like that that you could recall working on Loki?
wow, there's so many of those moments because I do really think that it is the beauty of costumes, and we're one of really the first departments that an actor meets. We're kind of the introduction to the project, right? And to that character. So boy, and in specific terms of Loki, I mean, there was for sure magical moments of trying on. Well, we can start with Tom. Those in season one, putting him in like a jumpsuit or just the variant jacket was such a startling change for the character that it is it immediately led to the just what was going to happen to that character. It really led him into that place. But on this season, I'd say was being able to put somebody into an actor into a corset and get into such a different era.
Yes.
You really watch them, their brain ticking of what they can do and where they can take these cues from the costume. So that was
Yeah,
really fun.
definitely. And episode three, obviously, just such a different time period. And I think everything was just done so beautifully. The costumes, just the setting, and it really took you to that time period. How did you approach those outfits in particular? And do you have one that was most challenging, maybe, for this episode?
um I mean, that whole episode was such a fun research moment. So there actually is quite a bit of reference for the World's Fair, and
Yes.
right, and making trying to stay sort of true to how we look at those images and then make them three-dimensional is was really a palette thing. Was the first thing that I paid it really tried to hone in on, was how that palette was going to work and feel, to make it really feel like you were thrown back into that time without it being jolting to within all the episodes. But in terms of the most difficult costume in that, I the behemoth, that he was huge. And to even to get one of those Lincoln, I immediately thought of Abraham Lincoln, just to try to even make him even taller, but trying to get a hat made just for his size and to even feel big enough was
Yeah.
quite a challenge. I
Yeah.
was
Is there a time period that you would like to put Loki in or see Tom in if the show gets a season three? Like if you could pick any time period to do costumes for Loki, what would you love to see?
Um, I think it could be really fun to do uh like the 1920s. That or even like a Western era would be fun.
Yes, yes. Some cowboy vibes for Loki.
That's right. Yes. A little Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
All
Thank you so much again for your
right.
time and just amazing work on the show. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies, and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.